James Landau, BBC. First of all, why should people obey COVID rules from the government when and if Downing Street breaks those rules and then jokes and lies about having done so? And secondly, what changes are you going to make to the Foreign Office and the way it handles crises after the evident organisational failures of the Afghan evacuation, as made clear by the whistleblower this week?
Well, thank you very much, James, for that question. Look, it's in everybody's interest that we follow the COVID rules and that we boost our vaccinations as soon as we practically can, and there have been steps up in the booster campaign, and that's obviously very important to deal with the new variant. As to alleged events in number 10, I don't know the detail of what happened. I know that the Prime Minister's spokesman answered those questions in detail yesterday, and I'm sure there'll be further discussion of that issue. But my focus has been, as I'm sure you imagine, on foreign policy. I spent last week in Sweden, in Latvia and Estonia, working to challenge Russian aggression with our allies. We have the G7 coming up in Liverpool this weekend, and of course I'm here today outlining our foreign policy approach at Chatham House. And on the subject of the FCDO, there was...
Just address the trust issue, which is really crucial and important because it matters for all voters and all citizens. Why should British citizens trust an administration that does not follow the rules on COVID?
Well, we do follow the rules on COVID. I'm saying in that particular issue that you raised, James, I'm not aware of the precise circumstances, and I know the Prime Minister's spokesman has addressed that issue. On the subject of the Foreign Office, which you also asked me about, there was extensive testimony yesterday from our Permanent Secretary and senior officials at the FCDO. While there was a heroic effort to get people out of Afghanistan, 15,000 people were brought out of Afghanistan in those 2 weeks. There clearly are lessons to be learnt. The Permanent Secretary is clear that he should have returned from holiday earlier, as was my predecessor. And what I've done since I've become Foreign Secretary is make sure that we have processes in place to address any future issues. 3 things. First of all, making sure we have better risk monitoring. And I have a weekly meeting with Directors General to talk about the risks and potential worst case scenarios. Secondly, that we have a good emergency response, including a COBRA response, should any situation like the one we experienced arise again. And finally, that we are better able to surge employees across the FCDO into any such crisis issue. And I can assure you, James, that I'm absolutely confident that we now have those processes in place in the unfortunate event of a similar situation.